Okay, it's time to take a quick look at security of data files. Now, I'm starting here on my computer. I'm logged into my school network as me, and I don't actually have access to the C drive. I won't bore you with that. If I can go in there, I couldn't do anything. But you can see here that I have access to what we call our school, our N drive, and I can get to, if I double click on it, this is my user area at school. But the reality is that we have several other drives available. We have a V drive for a shared area. We have an S drive for Sims and things like that. But the whole point is when I log in, I don't have access rights to be able to get to a lot of the drives on our system that my network manager does. When he logs in, he gets loads more things down here than, I don't know, CD servers and all sorts of stuff like that. But the whole point is that when the network manager creates a user account for you, he will lock you out of certain parts of the network. So you can't even access the files that are on there. And lots of heads of IT go, I want access to everything. And they shouldn't. The bottom line is, I don't know how to run a network. And I should not be given access to anything on there that I could, potentially delete. Now, let's talk about the security of files. So we know that we can deny access to certain parts of the network to any particular user. The network manager will do that at the beginning. But also, I can deny access to files. Now, these were my predicted grades for my students at A2. You'll note they're not all called Jones, but I don't want their real names in there. I'm learning not to put real names in compared to that video that I did a while ago, which you all saw my home address and stuff like that. But we're moving, so it doesn't matter. These were my predicted grades. The students actually went on to do a lot better than this, which was quite a surprise, but I won't gloat about that. Made a lot more A's. In fact, they were fantastic results, and Hannah Jones did get her A star, which is good news. But I have no other A's. We've got one other A there. In fact, we got 7 A's from these students last year, and the lowest grade was a C. So I don't know why I predicted D's, E's. I don't have faith in my own students. Anyway, the whole point is that if this was a let's say it's a really important file, and you don't want people getting to it, you don't want people changing it. Well, if you go File, and when you go Save As, you'll find down here you've got the option here in General Options that we can actually set a password. So password to open, I'm going to make it password, and I'll make my password to modify also. Password. There we go. So I'm going to press OK there, re-enter password to proceed. It's going to be password. I'm going to press OK. Oh, re-enter password. That's annoying, isn't it? Password. I wish I'd choose something a bit shorter now. And now I'm just going to call it A2 predicted grades. I'll put a test on the end there. And I'll press save. I'm going to close this down. Yeah. And we'll come back to this one in a moment. Let's go to the desktop, and we'll get rid of that for a moment. I thought I saved it on the desktop. Oh no! I think I know where I have saved it though. My documents 2012, 2013. No, 2011, 2012. Even there it is. Phew! Should be more professional, shouldn't I? Anyway, everyone makes mistakes. Let's double click on this one. I cannot get into it. I can only get into it if I know the password. I do happen to know the password, which of course you do as well, because it's password. And it says, oh, I'm going to modify it. I'm going to go password as well there. There we go. So we're in. So we see that what we can actually do is password protect our files if we wanted to. I'm fairly sure, actually, we could also, I'm winging this one a little bit in Tools. I wonder if we could make it read-only. Read-only recommended. Could have done that, couldn't I? So let's try part grade 2 test 2. Let's close it down, and here it is. I probably need a password to get in there, and I need a password. I think this might cause a problem because I've done modify here. Oh, it should be open as read only. Open as read only. Yes. And look, now I go la 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 la, and I try and click away, and that shouldn't have worked. Oh no. Oh dear. It's because I know why that was. It's because I allowed it to, when I went File and Save As. I'm not going to do this again. I when I went to general options, I should have just not bothered with the password to modify, and I'd saved it already. The whole point being, just trust me, you can try this yourself. If you marked it as read-only, somebody opening that would not have been able to edit it. Unfortunately, I didn't. I put a password to modify it because I'm stupid. But I'm sure that you get the idea. I think it's a good one for you to go and practice with, actually. See if you can play around with your own ones. Let's press cancel and cancel. You can, of course, and I always forget how to do this now, we can, of course, we can protect the sheet, can't we? Let's have a look where that is now. What I'm going to do is if I go to a review and protect sheet, and by default it's got select lock cells and select unlock cells. I'm going to put pass in there rather than password this time, and we'll put pass in here. Let's say you want to allow somebody access to the sheet, and they want to now change stuff. They can't. That's what should have happened last time. I'd done the correct password protection. But anyway, let's say we don't actually put a password on the file, but we give the file to people. But we don't want them changing it. One thing we can do is protect the entire sheet. And if someone wants to actually change the data, they've got to unprotect the sheet, pop in pass, and then we can change, let's say, Ashley, who went on to get an A, will change his predicted grade to an A. The thing is that perhaps I'm happy with people changing this column, but I don't want people changing these names. Well, what you can do here is this. If I right click and I format the cells, and I go to protection and I make them unlocked, remember that they're now unlocked, and press OK. Now, if I protect the sheet, but I only protect, I let people select the unlocked cells. Let's see what happens here. Put a password of pass in, pass again, we'll press OK. And now look, I can't even click on, I'm trying to click on Jones and Connor and Jones and Shafi. I can't, but I could change Ajibola. He got a C in the end, that was our lowest grade. And Connor, he got an A. But I can change these, but I can't select anywhere else on this spreadsheet. I'm trying to click over here now. The only thing I can actually click on those is because I made those cells to be unlocked. So that's a couple of ways in which you can deal with security of files. You can make things read-only, you can make password to modify, password to open, and of course what you can do is put files away on parts of your network that you just deny access to. So we won't save that, and let's pop back to here, and we'll just F5 and we will bring up the pen, ink color white. So we've talked about the security of files in terms of how you can protect them sort of when you're inside the applications or inside your network. But now let's have a little think about, well, what other security issues are there? Well, the simplest of all is physical security. And physical security can actually come in sort of a couple of ways, really. You can have, and it seems a bit pathetic, I can't even spell. There we go. You can have security guards, just like in a supermarket. They have those big things, don't they? You go by the door and they have these things that you have to walk through. And if you walk through them, the alarm goes off if they've got security tags, and there's normally a man standing, or a woman, standing there, and they'll go through your bag as you go through. So you can have physical, that's supposed to be an A there, physical security. But of course that's for a supermarket. But in our school, it's currently Saturday. I give up my time, it's crazy, isn't it? I'm in my school now, and I've had to get my network manager, because he's got a key to get into school, and he can disable the alarm. So the whole point is that you can actually, what I'm trying to get at, is that you can actually have locks on parts of, if you've got a computer, we've got a network, of course, at our school, and to get into our network room, you've got to have a special key, and you've got to turn it twice. It's like a double locking door. Very difficult to take down with a sledgehammer, or so they say. You can actually deny access with one of these. And we've done that on a video previously, an RFID. I'm just going to go flip to let's go to a red pen. No, maybe not. Let's go to a blue pen. Red wouldn't work very well. Inside an RFID, what you have is this is a chip. And this stuff around the outside here, this is, blue pen's not going to put it there. This is an antenna, which I have spelt correctly. And The whole point being is that people can have these in little sort of security badges that you might carry around on. You've got a little badge there, and it can be on like a lanyard that you put around your neck. And it can have one of these RFID chips in it. And these things basically, if you like, are emitting signals. So you could go to a door, and it would have like a signal receiver there. And if you have the sort of physical chip, the badge with you, of course that will then open the door and let you through. Of course there are other, when it comes to devices, other biometric devices, which are the biometric, by the way. Bio means obviously biology. So these are human features. You've got the retina scan. It may well be that to get in through a door, you've got to put your eyeball up to it. Certainly at our school, if you want to take out a library book, you've got to put in your sort of fingerprint. You actually scan by taking it out with your fingerprint. And so, these are biometric devices which would allow you perhaps in and out of those doors, restricted areas, isn't it? That's the word I was looking for. Right. But imagine someone's got inside that restricted area. Imagine somebody has got access to the network and to the files. What are you going to do? Well, one more security measure that I want to look at, and that's called encryption. And I suppose the best encryption is basically when you take a file, and I don't know why I've drawn the square there. Actually, you take a file, and what you do is that you scramble it. So basically, if somebody were to open this file, it doesn't make any sense. And perhaps the best example that I can explain this with is perhaps the concept of an email. Let's say you are sat at your computer. Here you are, and that's supposed to be a computer, and you want to send a message to your friend Bob. Have you got friends called Bob? It's not really a common name anymore, but it's confidential, this message. And what you're concerned about is hacker kids getting in, and they're going to intercept your message. It transfers from A to B. Well, what you can do is that, well, actually, let's do it the other way around first. Many weeks ago, what you might have done is send your friend Bob over here. You might have sent him what we call a decryption key. Okay, a decryption key. I'll explain this in a moment. And the whole point, I was supposed to write that here, is that at your computer, you write your email or your message, or whatever it is, and then you encrypt the message using the sort of like, it's like you imagine a yin, well, I'm not very good at drawing, that yin and yang thing that goes a bit like that. If you imagine you've got a key and it has two parts, you've got the encryption side of it and the decryption side of it. So if you like, you take your message and you encrypt it here and you send it down the phone line and it arrives with Bob. And if Bob has the other part of this, the decryption part of the key, he can then unscramble that. But the whole point is that anyone who's very naughty, there's a naughty face there, smiling away, if they were to intercept this email, because it's been scrambled as it went down the line, then they would need to have the decryption key. To get the decryption key, they'll have to be monitoring your traffic for a long time. But that's very unlikely. So the whole point being is that what's what we mean by encryption. Encryption is taking a message and then scrambling it up, sending it down the line. It's encrypted as it goes down the line. It arrives at Bob. He runs his little decryption key or decryption cipher, if you want to call it that. And then he'll turn it back from being unscrambled back into the actual file itself, and he can then read the file that you've sent him. And that's basically what encryption is. It doesn't have to be done via email. You can, if you have a quick Google, actually, there are lots of encryption things you can use to encrypt memory sticks and stuff like that. But normally, the decryption key, sometimes it's just nothing more than a password. I certainly know my wife has one for the NHS. She has an encrypted memory stick, and to get into the memory stick, you have to type a password to get in the first place. Otherwise, if you try and look at the files, they're just complete gobbledygook. You can't make head nor tail of them. I assume that typing the password in will trigger the decryption cipher to run on the memory stick, and then she can actually view the stuff unencrypted. So there we go. Let's have a quick recap on it all. I can't really have a quick recap, can I? Because I'm on 2 slides. Security. You can have physical security, guards and locks and things like that. My advice, by the way, is in an exam, don't think if it's a 2-mark question, 2 types of security, don't have guards on the doors and have locks on the doors. That's a stupid answer. You wouldn't get 2 marks for that. You get 1. But you can talk about biometric devices, you can talk about RFID things, and of course you can also talk about encryption, you can talk about password protection that we mentioned in the previous video, and you can talk about the idea that certain parts of the network are just simply unavailable to all users. Only certain users, normally a network manager, can actually get to those parts of the network.